Bom dia. Dando continuidade às atividades do terceiro Seminário Internacional de Lesson Study no ensino de matemática, teremos agora a Conferência de Abertura, que será proferida pelo professor Dr. Yoshinori Shimizu, e será moderada e traduzida por mim, Alusca Dias Ramos de Macedo Silva. O professor Dr. Yoshinori Shimizu possui bacharelado em matemática pela University of Tsukuba, mestrado em educação pela University of Tsukuba, doutorado em educação pela University of Tsukuba, PhD em educação matemática pela University of Tsukuba. Atualmente é professor da University of Tsukuba no Japão, onde atua desde 2005. Iniciou sua carreira acadêmica em 1990 como pesquisador associado na Tokyo Gakugei University, tornando-se professor associado em 1994. Em 2009, passou a atuar como professor da University of Tsukuba, sendo presidente da Escola de Graduação em Educação e, desde 2024, presidente do Departamento de Educação do Instituto de Ciências Humanas da University of Tsukuba. Sua atuação envolve o ensino e a pesquisa na área da educação matemática, com ênfase na formação de professores e no desenvolvimento curricular. Destaca-se por sua contribuição em projetos educacionais no Japão e por sua presença em eventos internacionais da área. Os slides do professor foram traduzidos e enviados por e-mail para o e-mail de todos os participantes. Pedimos a todos que assistam pela plataforma para que recebam a presença no certificado. As perguntas podem ser colocadas no chat na medida do possível em encaminharemos ao presidente. Fique à vontade, professor Dr. Yoshinori Shimizu, para proferir sua conferência. Now, your talk.
Thank you very much, Aluska. It is a great honor and a great pleasure for me to be invited to this important opportunity, and I greatly appreciate the invitation and Professor Baldin and also Aluska for their help. And today, I would like to share with you some idea about the relationship between lesson study and the curriculum. And I would like to spend some time on recent studies I have conducted, and I like to share some situation currently Japanese mathematics education is faced with. Aluska, do you translate, or just can I go through?
Yes.
May I just go ahead? The title of the talk is the role of lesson study for the alignment of mathematics curriculum. Please go to the next slide. Here is an outline of my talk, and we have 4 parts on talk. First one is working and living in a tradition of lesson study in Japanese context. I like to say some word on the tradition of lesson study, and then some relationships between lesson study and the curriculum development and the implementation will be discussed, and some 3 subtitles are aligned here: School Mathematics Curriculum Reform Around the World. This is a ICMAI Study 24, which was published 2 years ago. The book I will show you later. And alignment of curriculum is a key term for today. The intended curriculum, national curriculum guideline we have, the goal and the content are specified. And then implemented curriculum, which means classroom activities based on curriculum, student experience as that's curriculum. And then attained curriculum means some student achievement and the attitude toward mathematics, and so on, so on. So attained or achieved curriculum. These three layers, different layers, but some kind of relationship among them. And then lesson study and curriculum reform will be just discussed. And then one case study, if time allowed, I will like to explain a little bit. And the key message is a teacher is a key player in the implementation of curriculum and evaluating the importance of curriculum and so on. So I will show you some background case study. And then in Japanese we say matome, which means summing up, general summarize. I would like to say some issues and challenges. So please, next slide. And I'm assuming you here, you are listening to me with some familiarity of lesson study, knowledge of lesson study. Lesson study is a kind of approach to improve teaching and learning in classroom, and a particular form of activities among a group of teachers. Typically, entire school, one school, working together for improvement of teaching and learning, and just improving their capacity, competency as a teachers. And they usually research lesson will be designed and implemented and observed by a colleague. And then afterwards, some reflection and discussion will follow. And then recently, research and the practice of lesson study has spread internationally very quickly and around the world, and will focus on its capacity as a vehicle for the professional development of teachers. So lesson study is regarded as a place, activity for professional development of teachers. But recent advocacy of lesson studies just focusing on professional development aspect. But today, I would like to emphasize the lesson study does have impact on the curriculum issue, design of tasks and instructional sequences. Maybe a teacher develop original instructional materials and so on. So please, next slide. And a lesson study consists of following collaborative works among teachers, planning lesson in relation to theme. Theme means each school set a goal as a school, maybe introducing new materials or developing student critical thinking or logical thinking, and there's some theme. Using real world problem in the classroom and so on, so on. And the planning and implementing research lesson observed by teachers, and some reflection and discussion of lesson just observed. The photo is from a small public school in Tokyo, and the teachers has done research lesson just with some hypothesis on the student, and they, after observe the lesson, they just checked what the student wrote or what was a key moment during the lesson, and what we could be improved for the lesson plan and so on, so on. And the important thing is that this activity constitutes the cycle. First research lesson, and next month, second research lesson, and so on, so on. Teachers are working in this way. Next slide, please. This is a diagram of lesson study which was proposed by Catherine Lewis from the United States. She has been working such a long time, and she's a very famous researcher on the lesson study. And the left-hand side, we have a cycle of lesson study, plan, do, reflect. And this cycle will be rounding. And then to the left-hand side, pathway of impact, and the teacher's knowledge, teacher belief and dispositions, and the teacher learning community norms and routines and so on and so on. But in the very bottom, there's a curriculum, which means the mathematical tasks or instructional sequences and planning the content of mathematics. And we need to focus on this aspect if we think lesson study as an activity of teachers. Next slide, please. And lesson study in reality is held for several purposes. I have just listed based on Catherine Lewis and Ineko Tsuchida's short article published in 1998. There's educating pre-service teachers, which means that university students has an opportunity to do lesson study in a school for developing their capability as a teachers. And then once they are hired at the school, beginning teacher can have an opportunity for kinds of mentoring by experienced teachers. They mean the beginning teacher do have an opportunity to do research lesson, and they having a comment with a colleague or principal or someone from outside the school. And this is a kind of maintaining collaboration among teachers through the activity and improving teaching skills. For example, teachers' skill on writing on a chalkboard in a very balanced way, and having student idea very clearly in sequencing and so on and so on. But the important thing is sharing new idea about teaching and content. Maybe statistical problem solving, a new topic. Teacher have to do with such a new topic, or computational thinking in mathematics. Again, it is a new topic, and teacher have to learn about what computational thinking all about and how to teach it. Maybe using a new published textbooks in mathematics, and testing and demonstrating a new approach, which is also something to test against the student through the lesson study. So when curriculum reform is happening, teacher have to do something new, something trial, something customized, national curriculum guideline, or slightly change the content of textbook and so on and so on. So this is what I would like to emphasize today. And please, next slide. The recent curriculum reform in Japan has been conducted, and in 2017, new national curriculum standards have been released for elementary and junior high school, and next year for upper secondary school. And which was 2020, just implemented all the school, the new national curriculum guideline. Of course, the recent pandemic has a huge impact on that. But key movement was from content-focused previous curriculum now became competency-based curriculum, which emphasize student activity and disposition toward mathematics, and some kinds of thinking skills or critical thinking, and so on and so on. So this is new to teachers, and also mathematical perspectives or thinkings emphasized with the incorporate mathematical activities in both social, daily, real world context or mathematical context. So something new has came every time curriculum reform will be done. And in our context, in Japanese system of education, roughly every 10 years, new national curriculum guideline will be released, revised, and then released. And then new textbooks comes to the school, teachers and the students have a new textbook. And something is new. To cope with this new thing, teacher use lesson study as an opportunity to check or to devise or to develop something by their own. So this is a place for lesson study does have an impact on the opportunity for the teachers to do. Next slide, please. And this is a book published 2 years ago in June. ICUMI Study 24. ICUMI means the International Commission of Mathematics Instruction. And this is a kind of international comparative study on the curriculum reform. In 2018, I have hosted the international conference here in Tsukuba, and then roughly 100 researchers came to Japan, and we have discussed a lot. But the book has been came out in 2023, very late. But please look at this book. The book itself is open access, which means you could just visit the web page of Springer. You may just Google the mathematical curriculum reforms around the world, and if you will visit the website, the entire book can be downloaded for free. So as a PDF file, you can just get. And the book includes some kinds of curriculum reform story on the second part, and also implementation of reformed mathematics curriculum is across different contexts and traditions. And in this part, some story about lesson study came also. So if we have a reform in curriculum in Brazil or in Japan or anywhere, teachers have to do something new. And maybe most influential age was a new math era in 1960s or 1970s. New math, new types of mathematics has been introduced in school curriculum, and the teacher have to learn a lot. And this is a kind of a time for competency-based curriculum implementation. So right now we have to do something new due to the new system of curriculum. Anyhow, please just look at the book. Next slide, please. And here is some lessons learned from the conference. And I have just highlighted two of them. And the key role of teachers. Actually, teachers are key player for curriculum reform around the world. And teacher education and the professional development is very important. Also, alignment as a key feature within school mathematics curriculum reform. Alignment means intended curriculum as a country or as a state or as a school set some goal, intention, and then implement it in the classroom, and then finally students have learned something by their head, by their body. So these alignment, the coordination among three is very important for curriculum reform. So today's my topic is something about this aspect of curriculum reform and lesson study. Next slide, please. And this is what the alignment looks like. And the TIMS model of curriculum layers, national and social educational context come first as an intended curriculum. The country like the United States or Germany has so many different curriculum guidelines. And maybe in Germany, statewide curriculum, intended curriculum exists, but in the United States, more than 15,000 different curriculum guidelines exist in the country. But in our case, in Japan, we have a national curriculum guideline, just one, and they revised every 10 years. And then home, school, teachers, and classroom context, the curriculum will be implemented by teachers in classroom with the students, and the parents are doing some work for the homeworks and so on and so on. But anyhow, new curriculum guideline did work as a implemented curriculum. And then student achievement and attitude called as a attained curriculum. This is a assessment framework of TIMS 2019. And next slide, please. And these three layers includes one more interesting one, potentially implemented curriculum, which means textbooks and other organized resource materials. Actually, country like Japan has a textbooks published by private companies, but Ministry of Education just authorized by checking contents, just aligned with the intended curriculum, goal and the content, just in line with the curriculum the country, national government has decided. So textbook itself is something in between intended and implemented curriculum. And it is very important. Variety of system has a different role of textbooks, but in a classroom reality, students learn from textbook, teacher teach by textbook or through textbook. So textbooks has a strong impact on the implementation of curriculum as a potentially implemented curriculum. Next slide, please. And this book came out this year, January, February, and there's a conference called International Conference on Textbook Mathematics Textbook Research and Development, and I have conducted some research on the analysis of textbooks on new national curriculum guideline, and we just checked the national curriculum guideline and the textbooks, mathematics textbooks, some coverage of the textbook of contents and the goal. It is not so simple thing, but we look for the mathematical activities in textbook, which is emphasized by the national standard. But it's not so easy on a paper book, textbooks, to develop rich and a dynamic mathematics curriculum using real-world tasks. Of course, we have now digital textbook and a website to link from the textbook. So some new framework can be applied, but in most cases, students just take a textbook in their hand, and the teacher use textbook. So as a potentially implemented curriculum, textbook does matter. So and we analyzed the textbook and found some something, just underline sentences. I will read. The result suggests that teachers need to supplement tasks and activities that are not explicitly provided in the textbook for achieving the new competency-oriented goals intended by the national curriculum standard. So again, there is a room for the teacher to fill, to cope with the place for the teacher to do something by themselves. And the lesson study has the role of this filling the room or the gap between intended and the textbook. And then eventually it will be implemented in the classroom. Next slide, please. And another issue which is not presented in TIM's framework, but the perceived and experienced curriculum, which is proposed by OECD, and the perceived curriculum refers to how school leaders and teachers perceive the curriculum and what they interpret or understand from the curriculum. Curriculum means a document, national document. So school leaders, head teachers and principal, and also teachers or supervisor, superintendent at the Board of Education have a perceived curriculum. And then experienced curriculum is a curriculum as a perceived and actually experienced by a student, while the assessed curriculum refers to the learning identified through assessment practice designed to capture a subset of student learning. So simple layer as intended, implemented, attained, proposed by teams has another aspect of perceived or experienced curriculum. And this is something directly related to activity of lesson study. Next slide, please. And last year in New Zealand, Auckland, I have presented a short oral presentation on the analysis of perceived curriculum, teachers' perspective on curriculum change. This is the title of my talk, but the important thing is a teacher, Mr. Tsuruhara. He is a very experienced, nice mathematics teacher at elementary school level, did interpret it, new national curriculum guideline, and customized by himself to teach students competency-based goal. Next slide, please. And I will skip some detail, but he has 25 years of teaching experience, and he taught 5th grade classroom topics of geometrical figure and angle. And this is very interesting thing because the national curriculum guideline has changed the content domain, which means geometry is a geometry, and formerly area of figure or angle of triangle and so on was belonged to the area of measurement, which emphasized the unit of measure and how to find areas or angles in some way by using a formula or by using a protractor and so on. But now, new national curriculum guideline just moved the topic of areas and angles from measurement area to geometry area. So in this change, textbook treatment of content is slightly different from previously, and the teachers try to cope with new emphasis on that. So area of figures and angles of geometrical figure might be treated taught differently from previous national curriculum guideline. So please go to the next slide. And he, Mr. Tsuruhara, just focusing on the finding the element and the composite of each figure. In this case, square and rectangular parallelogram, just a four-sided figure was treated, and he just emphasized on dividing it into triangle and finding sum of four angle. Of course, it is 360, but he invited a student to find by themselves by dividing quadrilaterals into two triangles for fostering logical thinking and to have a examining the component or items embedded in each figure. So he just wanted to do that. For him, this is something different from his textbooks. He can teach just using a textbook, but his interpretation of new national curriculum guideline tells something different. And he just developed himself the lesson plans and the plan of the unit composed of 6 continuous lessons. Please go to the next slide. And after confirming the sum of 4 angle square and rectangle is 360, he then went to the parallelogram and the rhombus and the general quadrilateral and so on. So he faced with a unexpected response from the student because he has a first time to teach in this way. But for him, just this is kind of a development of a teaching angle, sum of angle in different way due to the change of national curriculum guideline. And his lesson was observed by his colleague, and we are invited to observe this as a lesson, a research lesson. Please go to the next slide. And Mr. T. Tsuruhara Sensei developed a teaching unit by himself, the sum of angles of a polygon, and which consisted of 6 lessons with a set of detailed lesson plans. And he explicitly described his interpretation of national curriculum standards and related to the area of geometry in his lesson plans. And he emphasized the mathematical competencies in new national curriculum standards and focused on student logical thinking. Of course, mathematics is something about fostering logical thinking, but he used the change of the area of content to change his emphasis on the logical thinking by using composite of a triangle and so on. So instead of measuring angle with unit of measure, he changed this content. Please go to the next slide. And through the analysis, we found that the teacher interpreted the curriculum standard in the way that his own perspectives on school mathematics. And if we call this as the perceived curriculum, it can be manifested in the form of lesson plans and the instructional materials and through the lesson study. And he customized what is written in the national curriculum document in accordance with the goal he set with the reality of his own student in the classroom. So from the research perspective, his perceived curriculum can provide an opportunity to reveal how school leader and the teachers perceive the curriculum and what they interpret and so on. So this is just one small case, but we have such a trial around the country, everywhere, when new national curriculum guideline came. Okay, please go ahead with that. And the Teams model intended, implemented, attained might be slightly changed as a perceived curriculum, as a implemented, something between intended and implemented. Teacher, he or she themselves perceive curriculum in a particular way and then customize the content, which means for the student, the curriculum they experience. So lesson study in this case has a strong impact on the curriculum development. Please go to the next slide. And we say kyōzai kenkyu, which means analysis of teaching materials or instructional materials, the core of lesson study. But in our reflection, the being explicit with the goal of lesson based on the national curriculum standards is a very fundamental aspect, but very key component of lesson study. Thinking goal. Jim Stigler from UCLA, from the United States, he wrote The Teaching Gap, quite often mentioned the importance of goals in Japanese lesson study, and partly it's due to we have a national course of study which will be revised every 10 years. So teachers are very keen to understand what is a key issue of this particular new national curriculum guideline, and the lesson study, research lesson with a colleague and within the school will be the place for checking and customize and develop new tasks and the new teaching materials for the student. And examining challenging but accessible tasks for the student, and mathematics embedded in the task. Also important thing is anticipating student alternative solutions and looking back and looking forward, which means a connection among intended curriculum. Maybe 7th graders will be learning proportionality, and the 8th grade student will be learning linear function. So within a lesson study and kyōzai kenkyu, teacher have to do with very familiar with the content, not only within the grade they teach, but also different grade prior to this grade or forthcoming content. So this is a heart of kyōzai kenkyu, which is strongly related to the goal of described in the national curriculum standards and the content of kinds of network of mathematics embedded in a national curriculum guideline. So please go to the next. So I think it's almost time, and here is the concluding remarks. We say matome. Just at the final phase of any lesson, Japanese teacher tend to do some kinds of summing up summary. And here is my summary for today. Lesson study provides an opportunity not only for the professional development of teachers, but also for the alignment of curriculum at the transition period to new national curriculum guideline. This might be some specific thing to Japanese countries, but a country like China, South Korea, Singapore, East Asian country does have a national curriculum guideline, and they devised some years, every 10 years in Japanese case. So lesson study is a kind of tool for the intention of the curriculum, just as a becoming implemented curriculum. And the use of the new textbook, which is aligned with the new national curriculum guideline checked by the Minister of Education, demands teachers to interpret and examine competencies to be fostered in their particular lesson. So there's a big distance from the national policy and the teacher's own classroom, but the distance is not so far because the intention of curriculum come to the classroom with the student. So teacher have to interpret and examine what national curriculum guidelines specified for the future of their student. So this is textbook itself is a something potentially implemented, but still some room to be filled by the teachers. And a researcher, as an outside expert, with knowledgeable others invited and expected to make explicit comments and suggestions related to the national curriculum. And this is a kind of tradition of lesson study in Japanese teacher educator like me. If we are invited to lesson study meeting, sometimes we have been keep invited for 2 years, 6 times a year, and next year also 6 times. Keep continuing working together with teachers, and in this case, we are expected to say something about curriculum, not only teaching skills, bansho, or questioning, or making a collaborative work among students, but also important things, something related to curriculum or something related to content and something related to lesson plan, unit construction, and school curriculum eventually. So I just like to emphasize lesson study is something about curriculum development, curriculum implementation, and curriculum revision. I was working for this national curriculum guideline for elementary school. Actually, I was chairing the committee for new national curriculum guideline, and we discussed a lot about change of content area and some movement of statistical content from junior high to elementary school. And there are so many things to for the teacher to be familiar with. So if I was invited to the lesson study, I will say something different from the former national curriculum guideline. So thank you. I think this is the last slide, and time is okay. Obrigado. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Yoshinori Shimizu. It was an excellent and brilliant conference. Now I will translate a little bit, summarize for all the participants. Gente, lembrando que a gente está com o link, certo, para vocês da apresentação. E agora eu vou fazer um pequeno resumo para vocês, mostrando os slides traduzidos, tá certo? Então, foi uma belíssima apresentação do professor Yoshinori Shimizu. Gostaria que os slides aparecessem aqui na tela. E vocês podem ir fazendo as perguntas. Nós vamos ter algum tempinho para perguntas, não muito, mas a gente traduz aqui e passa para o professor e eu traduzo a resposta. Então, o professor trouxe a sobre o no alinhamento do currículo de matemática, e aí ele trouxe esse roteiro, que está detalhado aqui. Falou um pouco sobre a abordagem do Lesson Study, que vem sempre olhando para o ensino e a aprendizagem da matemática, de forma particular da atividade na qual um grupo de professores trabalha colaborativamente, e sobre a pesquisa e a prática do Lesson Study, que se espalhou para vários países no mundo. E, embora a defesa recente do Lesson Study esteja focada na sua função de desenvolvimento profissional, os impactos principais incluem o desenvolvimento do currículo de matemática com o planejamento de tarefas e sequências instrucionais, que é esse o foco da sua fala aqui. E o Lesson Study consiste nos seguintes trabalhos colaborativos: o planejamento, e aí ele traz fotos de escolas públicas, aqui, onde os professores estão tanto no planejamento como na reflexão pós-aula, discutindo e revisando o plano de aula. E esse ciclo de eventos é repetido ao longo de um período prolongado. Aqui ele traz o esquema da professora Catherine Lewis, que é uma das líderes do UOL, e esse modelo teórico tanto trabalha a questão do estudo, do planejamento, da implementação, da reflexão pós-aula, mas também trabalha os caminhos do impacto, como o conhecimento do professor, as crenças e as disposições, as aprendizagens desse professor como uma comunidade de prática, certo? E que disso vai para as instruções e a aprendizagem dos alunos. E volta também para o professor como aprendizagem. É realizado para vários propósitos, então, para a formação de professores, início de carreira, como ele vai comentando ao longo da sua fala, o acompanhamento de professores iniciantes, manutenção de colaborações entre professores, melhorias das habilidades de ensino, compartilhamento de novas ideias sobre ensino, teste e demonstração de uma nova abordagem. E o que é que está acontecendo na reforma curricular? Ele vem falar sobre a importância, né, vem falar sobre a reforma curricular recente no Japão e sobre a importância do Lesson Study nessa reforma curricular. Os novos parâmetros curriculares nacionais foram lançados em 2017, implementados em 2020, justamente quando veio a pandemia. Então, isso foi algo que dificultou essa implementação, certo? E aí, a importância maior do Lesson Study para essa implementação, especialmente durante a pandemia, uma mudança de currículo focado no conteúdo para um baseado em competências. E a gente até destaca aqui e relembra da nossa base nacional curricular, uma ênfase particular no papel das perspectivas e pensamentos matemáticos e um foco na importância das atividades matemáticas. Ele traz também um exemplo do livro dele, junto com outro pesquisador, e esse livro está disponível no site da Springer, ele é gratuito, certo? E foca no aprendendo com o passado, analisando as reformas curriculares e traz exemplos de Lesson Study, como ele colocou, implementação de currículos, globalização, internacionalização e agentes e processos de design, desenvolvimento e reformas curriculares em matemática escolar. Algumas lições que ele destacou, duas, que foi o papel fundamental dos professores, da formação de professores e do desenvolvimento profissional, que estão no centro, aí na segunda linha, certo? E o alinhamento como uma característica fundamental nas reformas curriculares da matemática escolar. Aqui ele traz um esquema que ele vem trabalhar lá no final, depois do estudo de caso, o currículo pretendido, implementado e alcançado, certo? Então, o pretendido é o documento oficial, o implementado é aquele que o professor interpreta o currículo e implementa na escola, e o alcançado é aquele que o aluno aprende a partir das tarefas propostas. Aqui, o currículo pretendido, o currículo nacional, né, os parâmetros curriculares nacionais do Japão, e é potencialmente implementado, então, nos livros didáticos e em outros materiais de recursos organizados. Aqui ele traz um outro livro, certo? Que também está no site da Springer, examinando o alinhamento curricular em matemática em um período de transição, uma análise dos novos livros didáticos de matemática do ensino fundamental, e essa análise dentro do currículo e dos livros didáticos. E aí ele destaca que os resultados sugerem que os professores precisam complementar tarefas e atividades que não são explicitamente previstas nos livros didáticos para atingir os novos objetivos orientados por competências pretendidas pelos parâmetros curriculares nacionais. Questões sobre o currículo percebido e vivenciado. Então, o currículo percebido refere-se como os líderes e professores das escolas percebem o currículo e o que eles interpretam ou entendem do currículo. O currículo vivenciado é o currículo percebido e efetivamente vivenciado pelos alunos. Um estudo de caso que ele traz aqui, exatamente desse currículo pretendido ao currículo percebido, perspectivas dos professores sobre a mudança curricular. A coleta e análise de dados, então, esses professores eram professores com bastante experiência, certo? E que lecionaram turma de quinto ano sobre o tema de figuras geométricas e ângulos. E a aula de investigação e a discussão pós-aula foram gravadas em vídeo. E a gente traz aqui um pouco dessa aula, começando com os casos do quadrado e do retângulo. Então, eles estavam analisando os ângulos e dentro do quadrado, do retângulo, explorando o caso do paralelogramo, examinando outras figuras, como o losango e o trapézio, e destacando que qualquer quadrilátero pode ser visto como composto por dois triângulos, e estendendo a atividade com o caso de um quadrilátero geral. E aqui, após confirmar que a soma dos quatro ângulos de um quadrado, assim como de um retângulo, é 360, ele possui quatro ângulos retos, os alunos foram convidados a pensar no caso do paralelogramo. E aí, pensando nesse caso do paralelogramo, o professor falou, alguns de vocês ainda estão tentando medir os ângulos com o transferidor. Podemos lidar com a ideia de não precisar medir se você usar, e esperou eles completarem, não há necessidade de medir se você usar o que já aprendeu. Então, o senhor T estava tendo dificuldades com as respostas inesperadas dos alunos. Resultados e constatações. Ele desenvolveu uma unidade de ensino sobre a soma dos ângulos de um polígono, que consiste em 6 aulas com um conjunto de planos de aulas detalhados. Ele escreveu explicitamente suas interpretações dos novos parâmetros curriculares nacionais, se referiu à ênfase nas competências matemáticas e teve como objetivo convidar os alunos a descobrirem que a soma dos quatro ângulos de um quadrilátero é 360. Se pudermos usar o fato de que a soma dos três ângulos de um triângulo é 180, em vez de medir o ângulo com unidade de medida. Discussão. Os resultados da análise revelam que o professor interpretou os parâmetros de acordo com as suas próprias perspectivas sobre a matemática escolar. Se chamarmos isso de currículo percebido, ele pôde se manifestar na forma de planos de aula e materiais didáticos em sua aula. Nesse sentido, os professores customizam o que está escrito no documento curricular e, de uma perspectiva de pesquisa, focar no currículo percebido pode fornecer uma oportunidade de revelar como os líderes e professores das escolas percebem o currículo e o que eles interpretam ou entendem antes de sua implementação. E aqui ele traz aquele esquema, né, que é um modelo do Teams, e coloca aqui, acrescenta um currículo percebido. O núcleo de Lesson Study, que é o Kenkyu, pesquisa sobre materiais didáticos, então ser explícito com os objetivos, com base nos parâmetros curriculares nacionais, analisando a matemática incorporada na tarefa e antecipando soluções alternativas dos alunos. As considerações finais do professor. O Lesson Study proporciona uma oportunidade não apenas para o desenvolvimento profissional dos professores, mas também para o alinhamento do currículo no período de transição para o novo currículo. O uso do novo livro didático alinhado às novas diretrizes exige que os professores interpretem e examinem as competências a serem desenvolvidas em suas aulas específicas. Pesquisadores como especialistas externos são convidados e devem fazer comentários e sugestões explícitas relacionadas ao novo currículo. Ele também acrescenta que nos Estados Unidos tem mais de 50 currículos e que o Japão é um único currículo, certo? Então, a partir desse currículo nacional que os professores fazem essa implementação e que há esse currículo percebido, como foi colocado aqui, certo? Então, resumidamente, foi isso. Espero que eu tenha feito jus à palestra do professor Yoshinori. E agora a gente vai passar para as perguntas. Now we have some questions from Professor Richael. Jorge, pode colocar na tela, por favor. How is the in-depth study of the theme carried out in your lesson study process?
How is the study of the theme carried out in your study process? I'm not so sure about the question. In the study of the theme carried out in your lessons. In-depth study of theme.
How is realized to depth the theme in your lesson study process, the content knowledge?
Themes sometimes come from the school, or sometimes assigned by the Ministry of Education or a group of teachers. They decide. So lesson studies, there's something about the teachers or working together. So some teachers, group of teachers may be interested in using a real world problem in the mathematics classroom. So how to develop such teaching problem and how to implement in the classroom. Such a theme sometimes comes from the top down, from the Board of Education or school decided, or sometimes a group of teachers interested in topic related to a national curriculum guideline may identify some theme to pursue. May I comment it properly? I'm not so sure about the.
Yeah, I will translate now. Peço desculpas, foi do professor André a pergunta, certo? E o professor Yoshinori diz que, em alguns momentos, esse tema ele é escolhido de acordo com o programa, certo, da escola. Em outros momentos, são os professores mesmo que se reúnem e escolhem esse tema, e eles partem do estudo, de acordo com o currículo, e dos materiais, como ele mencionou até na palestra, o Kyoza Kenkyo, né, os livros didáticos, os materiais didáticos que são disponibilizados para os professores. Espero que tenha alcançado a pergunta. A professora Flávia pergunta ao professor Yoshinori: Are there any experiments in problem solving using artificial intelligence in Japan? Is there any guidance for math teachers on the use of artificial intelligence? Excuse me.
Sorry. AI is one of the hot topic, and they teachers in school started to use AI, not only mathematics but also many subject area. And the Ministry of Education has just published the guideline for the teacher for use the AI. Students have to be very careful with the everything is just fine from AI is not the case. So students have to be very careful with thinking by their own head. The AI using as a tool. in mathematics classroom, Microsoft Copilot will be used by some teachers, and for the data handling of statistics classroom, some teacher use summarize the what we can do, we can know from the data, and then student by themselves check what AI is saying by themselves, and so on. So still just starting to use AI, but we cannot ignore AI. So our government is very careful with introducing AI, but still published guideline for the teacher to use. Actually, NCTM in the United States, they presented position statement last year, and I think I'm not so sure about Brazil's situation, but many countries has just started to use in some way.
Thank you. Então, a pergunta da professora Flávia foi em relação se tem experimentos com a resolução de problemas utilizando a inteligência artificial e se tem algum guia para os professores de matemática utilizarem a IA nas suas práticas. E o professor Yoshinori, ele disse que a gente não pode ignorar a inteligência artificial, porque ela está presente, certo? Mas existe, sim, um guia para os professores, como ele até mencionou, um guia dos Estados Unidos, e esses professores e os alunos também, mesmo utilizando a inteligência artificial, eles não podem deixar de pensar e analisar criticamente aquilo que está sendo dito pela inteligência artificial. Então, é utilizada, mas ainda de maneira um pouco limitada, dentro de sala de aula, digamos assim, mas que é necessário fazer essa análise crítica em relação ao que está sendo trazido. A próxima pergunta, para a gente concluir aqui. A professora Regina Pina pergunta: How can you help them expand this knowledge, which is so important when anticipating difficult and possible interventions during planning? Help the prospective teachers.
Yeah. How can you help them? Prospective teachers? Yeah. I think the teachers are not alone, and it's the matter of experience, but we have a kinds of some format for planning. Lesson plan format. We have a tasks and the anticipated student response and the teacher's possible strategy and so on. And also teacher's edition of the textbook includes some important information about student difficulties with decimal fraction or some ratio and so on. So teacher's edition of textbook is a very important source for the teachers to think, anticipate difficulty of possible intervention and so on. And also commercially available journal for teachers includes some messages for beginning teachers and prospective teachers in this part of thing to expand knowledge.
Então, e ele diz que no planejamento existe um modelo de planejamento onde é colocada a tarefa, as estratégias de resoluções, antecipando as estratégias de resoluções dos alunos, e depois, em seguida, a parte do livro didático, com um guia do professor, o que é que o professor pode falar para os alunos de acordo com aquelas estratégias, e o que o livro didático também traz. Então, a partir daí é que há esse aprofundamento dentro da etapa de planejamento para poder guiar o futuro professor, no restante do processo de lesson study. Vamos à nossa última pergunta agora, da professora Yuriko. How do teachers' lesson study activities reflect on subsequent curriculum reforms?
Yeah, actually, the cycle of lesson study have a impact on the next curriculum reform. Sometimes the actually national committee members includes university professors and the supervisors and the classroom teachers, and their experience of teaching something does have impact on a policy making. And there is some accumulation of experience and findings by teachers through grassroots activity as a lesson study. And for example, when we teach area of square and a rectangle, it is well known that the student might be mixed up with a perimeter and the area when they compare the size of the area. And in this idea came from the experience of lesson study can be reflected on this. And also new topic from outside Japan, like computational thinking and the statistical problem solving and so on, it will be just tested and contested in a sense at the teachers in some place, and then come to the plate on the discussion. So next curriculum reform has a place, some room for the input from the teachers based on their experience of lesson study.
Então, a pergunta da professora Yuriko foi como o lesson study impacta essas novas reformas curriculares no Japão. E o professor Yoshinori falou que, a partir dos ciclos vivenciados de lesson study, essas descobertas, essas vivências, elas influenciam diretamente nas novas reformas curriculares. Então, são a partir dessas experiências que alteram o currículo que vai ser lançado. E ele até colocou um exemplo, como, por exemplo, a área de um quadrado. Então, a gente pode trabalhar na área do quadrado, os ângulos que estão presentes no quadrado, mas também pode trabalhar a questão de perímetro, que os alunos confundem área e perímetro quando são vistos separadamente e vistos simultaneamente. Então, as experiências de lesson study influenciam exatamente nessa visão das novas reformas, do que foi vivenciado e como deve ser vivenciado em uma próxima reforma curricular. Por fim, nós
Sorry, something is wrong in my speaker. I couldn't. Oh, take a picture.